Welcome, everybody, to our council meeting. Here we are, the middle of April, April 14th, 2026. Council, before you tonight, we see a crowd of people representing the Kinsmen Club of the great city of Mount Pearl, along with a couple representatives I noticed in the gallery from the Connect Club as well. Nice to see some great support there. And we have the Community Sector Council here. So we're going to do a proclamation according to the agenda, then we're going to get a presentation and I think somebody's celebrating a birthday, and I know Mark Rice's mom is, Councillor Rice's mom, but we're also going to celebrate the 70th anniversary / birthday of the Kinsmen Club of Mount Pearl. The 60th, is it? Okay. Well, boys, you age well, so I just gave you 10 years. All right, here's the agenda, folks. On motion, thank you, Councillor Locke, seconded by Councillor Fry. I'll call the motion. All in favor? Opposed? And that's carried. In recognition of the City of Mount Pearl's commitment to foster respectful and collaborative relationships with Indigenous peoples here in the City of Mount Pearl and beyond, we hereby recognize that the land on which we gather is the ancestral and unceded territory of the Beothuk and the Mi'kmaq. Mount Pearl and the broader metro region continue to be home to diverse Indigenous peoples, including First Nations, Métis, and Inuit. Council, before we get on to anything new today, we have a good agenda. We have the minutes from the previous meeting on the previous meeting was March 31st, 2026. Before we adopt, is there any errors or omissions? Hearing none, I'm going to look for a motion. I'm looking at the other side of the table. I see from Councillor Rice, thank you. Second by Councillor Antle. All in favor? And those opposed? And that's carried. Any business arising from the action report or the minutes? They're awful quiet for now. Well, okay. You got anything? Got anything? Oh, you got something. Yeah. I'm pleased to welcome again from the Community Sector Council of Newfoundland and Labrador. And this is tradition. I think I've been on council 17 years, Councillor Locke 19 years, and I do remember my first council meeting. I think Jim Burton was the head of Volunteer Week at the time, and there's been numerous over the years. I'm sure MHA Stoyles could probably elaborate on all the people who volunteered. And although Volunteer Week has changed a little bit over the years, and things are good when they change. We have today with us, folks, we have Bahar Hashimi, and she is a senior associate for volunteer initiatives with the Community Sector Council. And we have the top dog himself, Colin Cochran. So I'd like to invite both of you to come up while we read the proclamation, if you would. Colin's been making his rounds. I'm sure he's going to other municipalities. He's been on the radio. He's the volunteer rock star. Let's see, by the way.
Rockstar and Top Dog is not on the business card yet.
I grew up with, I guess, in a cartoon world, right? You know. See it, by the way. Okay. Yeah. The Community Sector Council of Newfoundland and Labrador, along with local and national partners, including the City of Mount Pearl, are navigating the complexities of modern volunteerism. We are working together to build volunteer action strategies for our province and the country to remove barriers to participation so that every individual feels empowered to contribute to building more connected communities. And now it is more important than ever to acknowledge the contributions of those participating in our towns and our cities and to show our appreciation for their efforts. Whereas 24 million Canadians give their time through formal or informal types of volunteering, contributing close to 5 billion volunteer hours per year, and whereas over 210,000 individuals in Newfoundland and Labrador volunteer an average of 161 hours per year, with 3,400 incorporated nonprofits and 3,000 plus informal community groups. Wow. And whereas volunteers here in the City of Mount Pearl give their time and their talents to support families, friends, neighbors, and strangers. And whereas volunteers here in the city are individuals, families, workers, retirees, community members of all ages and backgrounds, And whereas the City of Mount Pearl recognizes the enormous contribution that volunteers and community organizations make to the social, cultural, and economic development of our province. And whereas the City of Mount Pearl is a more desirable place to live because of the collective result of the work done by all of our volunteers. Now, therefore, I, the Mayor of Mount Pearl, on behalf of my colleagues, we do hereby proclaim April the 19th to the 25th of 2026 as National Volunteer Week, recognizing the 2026 theme, Igniting Volunteerism. And I urge our fellow citizens to recognize the crucial role played by volunteers in our community. And we are no stranger, I'm sure, to volunteers. And I must tell you, we attended a luncheon today. Council was invited to a luncheon with the Seniors Independence Group. And you talk about the demographics that are served. It might be on the upper end of, say, the age dynamic, right? But they don't need the ignition you're talking about. And we can chat about that in a second. But they're ignited and they support each other and they provide a very healthy environment for all seniors. They contribute to the mental health and the physical health of everybody. And that's the thing I've noticed, Colin, is that volunteering, it's good for your own mental health, but it's really good for everybody else that you serve. And whether it's a sports organization, it could be a church, could be a service organization, our communities are healthier and we all feel better about doing it at the end of the day. So it's not just about numbers, it's about impact, isn't it?
Well, that concludes the speaking portion for today.
Thank you, Mayor Aker. Folks, I'm not going to go into my usual spiel because when I look around this chamber, the councilors around, MHA Stoyles, the organizations that are here today, everybody in this chamber understands why volunteerism is so important. And so we can get into the statistics, but if you take 46% of the population of Mount Pearl over the age of 15, chances are that's the total number of volunteers you have in your town. And it's, if you walk down the streets, if you engage in luncheons, if you have any conversation, every person that you engage with is otherwise a volunteer, benefiting from volunteerism, or both. This year's theme is so reflective and so aspirational, igniting volunteerism. And Mayor Aker is absolutely right. When we look around, particularly in Newfoundland and Labrador, and we look at the demographics as one of the older populations in the province, we know that in Newfoundland and Labrador, the bulk of volunteering hours is actually done by the 55 plus age group. The concerning thing that we have from national data, national trends, and what we're seeing in a post-pandemic world here in this province is that we're seeing a bit of a chasm happening in volunteering. Youth between the ages of 25 and 35, they're not volunteering at the same percentage and the same hours that they have in 2018 or in 2013. It's a pandemic has accelerated it, but it was an issue pre-pandemic. And so our research at CSENL over the past 2 years has pointed to a simple truth. When generations see their parents, their guardians, their grandparents, their family, those that they look up to, when they see their guardians and their leaders volunteering, that is one of the main indicators and if they will become a future volunteer. I was at an event, actually, it was last year, for Volunteer Week here in the town of Mount Pearl. And there was, I think it was the musician at the time. And so his parents, if I remember correctly, Councillor Fry, yes. Yeah, and his parents, prolific volunteers. And he got his start from just playing and following along with his parents at a volunteer engagement. And we sparked the passion for a lifetime volunteer. So as we continue to celebrate organizations, the organizations here today, yourselves as volunteers this week, we must not dwell on the demographic question. We must not get stuck in the spreadsheets and the data. We need to be looking forward, igniting volunteerism. Find a young person, particularly in that 25 to 35 age category, bring them along, show them what it means to volunteer, what it means to engage, and what it means to contribute to your community. So on behalf of CSENL and us here today, we want to thank you for volunteering and happy National Volunteer Week, everybody.
Thank you, Colin. I've got Deputy Mayor Kiley joining us. She's on the screen here, and she has to, she wants to make some comments.
Thank you, Your Worship, and thank you so much, Colin. You are actually talking about the question I had for you, and in relation to the sector, which is, I think, a question that everybody is talking about and wondering about, throughout not only our province but worldwide. And how do we reconcile what seems to be a huge deficit of individuals that we need more people volunteering, and we see incredible organizations and youth and organizations and populations that benefit from volunteers, yet it's really hard to find everybody contributing to that. So the fact that you mentioned, okay, igniting mentorship, engaging youth in that. My question to you is, well, first and foremost, thank you for sharing that important piece of information. But as a municipality, what would you want from us, and what is the sector saying? You know what, if there was one or two things that a municipality can be a part of to ignite and spark and engage young people into volunteering, what would you like to see, and how can we help with that?
So I think this almost feels like the interview that I had this morning on CBC, where we're diving right into it. But Councillor Kiley, that's an incredibly important question, and I'm glad to be able to speak about it. We need to think about volunteerism differently. Status quo is no longer acceptable. We can't fight against demographics. We can't fight against the data. But what we can do is change our approach. So three things. The first is volunteerism needs to look different. We have an entire generation of Newfoundlanders and Labradorians whose identity is equally in the physical world as it is in the digital world. They're tech natives. This is where they get their information from. They're highly informed because of that as well. That's a positive thing. So the classic example that I sometimes use is a young person may not be interested in calling bingo on Friday night, every Friday for the next year, but they may be interested in putting together the Facebook ad. They may be interested in supporting the flyer work. They may be interested in putting together a digital ad to advertise it and get people in. So we need to think about our contributions around volunteerism differently. The second piece is around the corporate environment. The challenge that we have with volunteerism is that over the last 40 years, and I'm thinking about clubs and societies like the Kinsman here, when a lot of clubs and societies evolved here in the province, typically we had one-income households. And so in today's day and age, the majority is two, or unfortunately, 2+ income households. People simply don't have enough time to volunteer like they did before. That means that we need to be encouraging the private sector to take a page out of corporate volunteering and encourage private sector businesses to include volunteering as part of their professional development and their corporate culture. Give time off for volunteering. That's how we can increase and combat some of the hours that we're losing. And the last one is incredibly important. And I'm going to speak to Bahar's work, and hopefully she'll be able to say a few words about the Involve program as well. Perfect. But over the last year, Bahar's actually been leading the Involve program to engage newcomers in attachment to for economic and social attachment through volunteerism. So I'd love for Bahar to just talk a few moments about that program and why it's so important.
Hi, everyone. My name is Bahar, and I had privilege to work on a project called Involve, and very proud of that. One of the things, and to answer your question as well, is that sometimes to tackle a problem, we need to change our perspective and look for new solution, very different solution. And one of those solutions to tackle the aging problem for volunteers is use the capacity of having newcomers as volunteers. And to do so, it's very important to make it accessible for newcomers and also engage them, because awareness and information, it's one of the pillars to newcomers, and their engagement in any activity Like the volunteering is like they are putting free word and they are trying hard to be part of community so we can have a win-win solution, and it's like benefits all together, communities and newcomers together, and answers that question as well.
Incredible. Thank you very much. That's really
Thank you.
important. Thank you.
Thank you.
Say that again. Well, thanks for coming in. You know, like we noticed that today, but the seniors are very friendly and they form great friendships through volunteering, having something in common. But I can tell you, the younger people are volunteering, but it's different. It could be a coach of a hockey team, or it could be a manager of a soccer team, but they're more in the moment. You don't need to have a banquet for them at the end of the year because it's on social media the minute they win the gold medal or the minute that they do well in or organize a soccer tournament. I'm only talking about sports, right? So I still think wherever the children are, there's a very strong volunteer base. But that's just one little takeaway because I have to think about it, like you said, Colin. We have to think about it differently than we have in the past. Change is good. Yep. Let's do a picture.
Okay.
All right. Hey, folks. Please. Good night. Thank you so much for coming. Yeah. All right, let's get on with the next portion. We have a presentation to make. 60 years. Yes, indeed. Let's talk Men in Black. And we have 5 gentlemen associated with the Kinsman Club of the City of Mount Pearl who were chartered in February of 1966, and it marks decades, 6 to be honest, of volunteerism, energy, enthusiasm, leadership in our community. And we're as much of a city because of volunteer organizations like the Kinsman. So from all of us, a big round of applause. And I'd like to welcome up all of the current members here of the Mount Pearl Kinsman Club. I'm going to ask fearless leader Roy Locke to come up and speak to this. It's not a proclamation, but it's pretty well said, and introduce your colleagues. At one time, what we know of as St. David's Field, part of that was called Kinsman Field, I believe. And I think Ed Moyse was instrumental as a member of the Kinsman Club, was instrumental in having the field become the start of the Mount Pearl Soccer Association. And you've given generously, all of you, over time, and you haven't stopped. The energy's still there. We see you at all of our city-related events like the Frosty Festival and the City Days, of course, and all the other events. So on behalf of all of us, it's really, really nice of you folks to come by here today, take a little bit of time out of your busy schedules, and just take a deep breath as we look back over many, many good years of positive energy within the city of Mount Pearl. And Roy, I'm going to turn the microphone over to you. And then in about an hour, I'm going to turn it back to one of my colleagues or so, right? Right. So, but no, let's do, Roy, if you would talk about all the great work you're doing now and have in the past, and then I'll turn it over to my colleagues. Thanks for coming, guys.
One, two, three, green light. Yeah, Your Worship, thank you for the kind words. Council, yeah, it's been a long road, 60 years, and fortunately for us, in the early days, back in the 60s, 70s, and even up to the 80s, the club kept accurate records, pictures of the original sports in Mount Pearl, which we have in our possession now, and the minutes of the meetings and what they did in those days and what they built and how they moved forward and helped the town become a city, actually, by creating the sports space, right? And I really, what an opportunity that the community council was here, because volunteer week is coming up pretty quick. And, of course, we'll be part of that. And, but talking about volunteers and getting volunteers involved, the St. John's Kin organization, they made a move to get a university kin club formed. And they came to the same conclusion, entirely different group, right? They'll do whatever you want them to do as it relates to volunteering. They just don't do it like us. You just got to give them direction on this is what we need to do. And boy, they do it just like that. But as for, selling tickets, that's something that's, like I said, doing a bingo every Friday. No, they're not into that. But, a few of the things that we should probably look at is getting into the schools on volunteer week and saying, hey, we're the Kinsmen, this is what we do. And we don't only sell tickets and work bars and things like that. The organization itself provides an avenue for someone coming out of high school, for example, or even in university, to develop their own skills, learn the whole management, parliamentary procedure. It's all there. We have it all there. You don't have to look for it anywhere else. You can self-educate yourself. We even got a kin university that you can go to and take any training that you want, public speaking, whatever you need to take. And maybe that message should get out a little louder so that people aren't saying, well, I don't really want to go to bingo every Friday, but I'd sure like to top up my public speaking and my other skills, minute taking. Why doesn't anybody want to be a treasurer in an organization? They're not trained to be a treasurer in an organization. That's why they don't want to be a trainer. So, but we have all the sources to train. And maybe that's one of the strengths that we have that we're not promoting strong enough. So, Mr. Mayor, my time is up. Thanks for a minute. I'm sorry. Clayton Button, 40 years in the club. Yeah. Mark, 10 years. Yeah. Brian Jensen, he's been 10 years. Yeah, 12 years. And our baby in the club here, Larry Hookie, who's been around now for 5 or 6 years, right? Yeah. Okay, thanks again. Thanks for having us.
Well,
It's been a pleasure. And we're always here to help.
my colleagues a chance to speak. And I know the president of the Connect Club of Mount Pearl is with us in chamber, and she happens to be Councillor Fry, and she would like to speak first.
I absolutely would. I can tell you that this group of gentlemen right here, this is a fine group of gentlemen. They have given many, many hours and many good things to our community and things that people don't even know about. I mean, Christmas time, they go up to one of the seniors' home and they bring Kentucky Fried Chicken and they have a meal with the residents. I mean, that's not something that people know about, but this is what these guys do. They work so hard at at different venues and different bars. And I mean, it's not easy organizing a bar, lugging everything around, and they make that money and then they sponsor a cadet group. You know, so above and beyond all of the things that the Kinsmen are known for, they do so much more. And I know it's, you don't have a big group, but you're a very mighty group and you do a lot for this city. And I want to make sure that you know that it's noticed and that it's appreciated because what you do is so valuable here. And as the mayor said, I'm the president of the Connect Club, and we're the female group, I guess, but we're not quite as old as they are. We're not 60 years celebrating yet. I don't know how many we are. Oh yeah, that's what I was talking about. What do you think? uh, but something, it's a great, Kin Canada is a wonderful organization, and as Roy was saying, there's many benefits to it. And just to let you guys know, we in Kinets, we have 2 new members that are both 19 years old. So they're not quite initiated yet. One of them happens to be a former Youth of the Year, Courtney Abbott. So, we're getting youth involved, and the more we do in the community, the better the community is. So thank you. I could talk on about Kin, but thank you for being here, and thank you for all you do. It's really noticed and very much appreciated.
We have a rivalry in the making. I got Councillor Locke and then Councillor Rice.
Thank you, Mayor. Just going back to what Colin said earlier, mentors in the community. I grew up in Mount Pearl and played minor hockey, and there was always a team sponsored by the Kinsmen. And of course, the soccer field, we're up there where St. David's Park is. That was the Kinsmen field. We knew that as kids. And you guys have been around for my entire life. And my volunteerism was motivated and inspired by your groups. It was just growing up in Mount Pearl. Once you got to a certain age, in my age group, you did it. Like everyone volunteered because of the leadership of the Kinsmen, the Lions, the Kinets, all the community groups. That was the fabric of Mount Pearl. So, 60 years is a tremendous milestone, and I see you at all the events. You're always smiling. You're always supportive. So thank you for all you do. It is truly, truly appreciated. And kudos to you guys. Thank you very much for coming today.
Thank you. And over to Councillor Rice, followed by Councillor Antol.
Get on. Come on. Thank you, Mayor. No, I just want to say a big congratulations. 60 years is a long time for an organization. And Mount Pearl, most of the groups in Mount Pearl, most of the groups and, like the sporting, they're getting into 50 and 60 years. So it certainly shows the volunteerism of the town and the city now. Back years ago, it was a town, now a city. But people realize, I've been volunteering all my life and I really enjoy it. It's rewarding. You meet new friends through groups. And every event, not every event, but most every event that I've been in Mount Pearl now 38 years. If we go to an event, the Kinsmen are there serving, and and we see the same faces. Years ago, you had some different faces on, but the numbers are getting smaller. But the time you commit to it is not getting any smaller. It's more now than ever. So I just want to say congratulations on the time you guys put into it. And some of you have been around, talk to Clayton, we're in around 40 years. It's a long time volunteering, but it is rewarding, and you make good friends, and you do fabulous work. So keep up the good work, and congratulations on 60 years. Really good. You're welcome.
Councillor Antol.
60 years. Wow. Roy, you must have been right at the beginning. You and I must have been kicking around. Well, yeah, when I look at the Kinsmen, like Councillor Locke would say, I grew up in Mount Pearl, and you guys have been around ever since, as long as I can remember. You want something done, ask the Kinsmen. And it's fabulous. You're always there. And I know you do other things outside of volunteering, right? But it's so good. And our residents get to appreciate you guys. Each one of you guys I know by name, by face. I see you guys, and you're always cheerful. And when we want something done, you're there. And thank you very much. 60 years is just simply amazing. And good job on it, Roy. Thank you. How long have you been president, Roy? It's fabulous. Good job, well done. Thank you, guys.
Good stuff. Over to Deputy Mayor Kiley, please.
Thank your worship. I have to express the same sentiments that all my colleagues have throughout the table, and it just goes to show just how incredible you are as an organization, as a mentor, and as just as the legacy that you've created with your work and volunteerism. And Roy, I think your points around that university idea and learning to meet volunteers where they are and looking at volunteers in a way that's different, to say that, you know what, it may not be bingo, but it might be this. I think that's an incredible perspective that you and your organization is taking. And I think that is going to help us and other organizations throughout the future of understanding where we are going to go for the next 60. And I can't wait to see what's to happen and what you have in store for the next 60. And thank you incredibly for your mentorship, your leadership, and everything you do. I say that from the bottom of my heart. Thank you.
Thank you, Deputy Mayor, and I agree with the Deputy Mayor. I think we all do. Thank you from the bottom of our heart. Here's to another 60 years. But in the meantime, today, let's celebrate with a little certificate. And a picture, Council.
Well done. Thank you.
Looking at the agenda, item number 6, Corporate Services, Councillor Antle.
Thank you, Your Worship. There's 3 there on our committee. And the first one is invoices for approval for April 14th, 2026. And the department recommends approving the attached invoices for 129,614.26. And I so move.
Thank you. Moved by Councillor Antle, second by Councillor Locke. Questions? Hearing none, I'll call the question. All in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? Carried. Thank you.
Next one on it came is our payment register, and this comes back from invoices already approved for a total of, one second, they're all there in your kit there, for a total of, for your information, for 2,361,735.24. And that's for your information. Any questions? None, I'll move on. The next one is regarding our HAF applications. And this is quite interesting. We're quite happy and quite excited about the HAF program here in the city, right? The Housing Accelerator Fund, for anybody, is a partnership with the federal government, helps address the housing crisis throughout the country. The program is aimed at building homes quickly with a focus on high density. That's based on apartments for us right now. As a part of the Housing Accelerator Fund, the City of Mount Pearl has announced a suite of offerings to prospective developers. The city has one eligible application for the day. It's an interesting party to participate in this program. They can apply for up to a value of $10,000. It goes through our committee to take a look and see how it fits and falls through our program. And this program is eligibility for $10,000. The project cost is $30,000, and their half eligibility is $10,000. And the team has reviewed the application and has recommended this permit, and I so move.
Again, moved by Councillor Randall. Thank you. Second by Councillor Locke. Any questions? Hearing none, I'll call that question. All in favor? Contrary-minded? And that's carried.
And that's everything for the corporate services, Your Worship.
Public Works Report is next, item 7, and Councillor Fry, please.
Thank you, Your Worship. Just a few updates for us this evening. For our roads division, our snow clearing and snow removal and ice control as required. Can't believe we're still doing it, but it's still required. Parks division, our trail maintenance is ongoing. For our fleet division, we have ongoing service and maintenance. And our UTM division, of course, general calls, fire hydrant repairs, water and sewer repairs, leak detection, lift station inspections and maintenance. And finally, for our report is the, you can see here in the kit, the water levels for Babel's Big Pond. This is as of April the 6th. And you can see that they're quite healthy. And that's it for our report this evening. Thank you.
Well, hopefully that means lots of drinking water for a long time to come. Well, thank you very much. We're going to move over now to Recreation, and Deputy Mayor Kiley, please.
Okay, sorry about that. Thank you, Your Worship. I have a few items for approval tonight, and we're going to begin with a decision direction note of Public Council for the execution and addendum of extending the expired memorandum of understanding with the Association for the Arts in Mount Pearl. And we approve that Council approve the execution and addendum to extend previously expired MOU, the city and the Association for the Arts of Mount Pearl, to extend the term of the agreement to December 31st, 2026, under the same terms and conditions. And just a little background there, the MOU expired in December 31st, 2025, and since that time, AMP has continued to operate a good standing while discussion regarding future arrangements are ongoing. Extending the MOU to December 31st, 2026 will provide time for the community center project to advance to a point where its operational capacity and programming opportunities are clearly defined. And this will allow the city and AMP to make an informed decision regarding the future of the facility and longer-term agreement. So the proposed extension does not introduce any new terms or conditions intended solely to maintain continuity of programming and partnerships while planning progress. And I so move.
Thank you very much. Recreation Lead, Deputy Mayor Kiley, and that would be normally seconded by Councillor Lane, but I'm going to ask Councillor Fry to second that tonight. And that's been seconded. Any questions, comments? All right, let's call that motion. All in favor? Contrary-minded? Thank you. Carried.
Thank you, Worship. That leads us to our next decision and direction note with the commercial kitchen appliances to the new community center. It's absolutely exciting when we see items such as the materials that are going to be going in to everything from, well, right now we're looking at the kitchen in our new our community center. So the direction is required of council to approve and award the invitation to quote for the supply of commercial kitchen appliances for the new community center to Bake Eric's in the amount of $80,148.99. HST is excluded, and being the lowest compliant bidder, meeting all specifications and budget requirements. The direction is further required for the Department of Recreation to proceed with confirming vendor selection and coordinating with a successful bidder to ensure all appliance specifications are finalized in advance of the plumbing and electrical installation phase of the project. Furthermore, requesting that the direction of council to direct Big Eric's defer delivery of the appliances until fall 2026 to align with anticipated completion and opening timeline of the community center, and that staff ensure procurement remains within the approved project budget. And I so move.
Thank you. Again, moved by Deputy Mayor Kiley and second by Councillor Fry. Questions, Council? Councillor Locke, please.
Thank you, Mayor. Yeah, in reading this, as I said, progress is being made. But the question I have, Mayor, is when we conceptualized this community center, the goal was to move many of the activities from the Reed Center down to the community center and then return the Reed Center to more sporting activities. So I know we spent some significant investments to upgrade the kitchen at the Reed Community Center. So I'm just curious, could that equipment, I don't know what the state of the equipment is like at the Reed Community Center. Is that something we could move down to our new community center? Or perhaps we're planning to continue keeping the kitchen at the Reed Community Center as a possibility for another venue that we could potentially rent out. So my question is, what's the status, or what are we going to do with the kitchen appliances that are currently at the Reed Community Center?
Yeah, and maybe we're going to use some of them down with the new purchase down to the new community center, right? You know, Manager Jones is here. Thank you. Go ahead.
Yep. So although we are planning on moving a lot of the events down to the new community center, not every event will be moved. And not all community groups are going to be moved. So like example, like the seniors, even though they're going to be moved down there when Park Place comes up, their fitness and things like that are still available. And they do a lot of seniors teas and stuff like that. So the community groups and user groups are still going to be using the kitchen. And it also allows us to have, if the space is available, to have multiple events at one time. So for example, like Frosty Festival, we could probably have 2 events going on at the same time.
Yeah, no, it'll be interesting to see how it unfolds, but I think some of this is just managing the risk of not knowing exactly how the sports take up at the Reed Center is going to go. That will be the primary focus still of the Reed Center itself, right? But hopefully we'll make use of all that equipment. I don't think it'll go to waste. You know. Any questions further, Council? Hearing none. I'll call that question. All in favor?
Aye.
And those opposed? Thank you. Motion carried. Back to you, Deputy Mayor.
Thank you, Your Worship. This brings us to another decision direction note, and that's for the extension of agreement Northern First Aid supplies for the tender number TP-23-021. And that the direction note is that council approve the extension of the agreement arising from tender number TP-23-021 First Aid Supplies awarded to Northern First Aid to extend the term of the agreement to May 31st, 2027. And that's in accordance with the extension provision of the tender and under the same terms and conditions, including the annual cost of $3,735.05. And that's HST included. So the City of Mount Pearl has issued the tender TP-23023 First Aid Supplies, which was awarded Northern First Aid to supply first aid products to municipal facilities and operations. The tender document included a provision under Part 2, Section 11, identifying possibly 2-year extension options, with the understanding that the pricing may be adjusted at the time of extension. So the current agreement term is scheduled to conclude on March 31st, 2026, and staff are recommending that the approval of the extension for year 4, covering the period from June 1st, 2026 to May 31st, 2027, in accordance with the extension option outlined in the tender document. All other terms and conditions from the original agreement will remain unchanged, including the annual cost of $3,735.05, HST included, and the proposed extension will ensure continuity of supply, maintain compliance with occupational health and safety requirements, most importantly, and avoid the need for retender at this time. And I so move.
It is moved by Deputy Mayor Kiley and again second by Councillor Fry. Questions? Hearing none. I'll call the motion. All in favor? Contrary minded? And that's carried as well.
Thank you, Worship. That leads us to our final item, and it's some recreation event highlights for the information of council and for our residents. And here is just an overview of upcoming recreational highlights to support resident awareness. And here are some important things that we'd like to note. The Royal Newfoundland Regiment Mount Pearl High School Hockey Tournament is taking place it has already begun, actually, April 13th, right up till April 19th, 2026. Tournament games are being hosted at two locations, the Glacier Arena 1 and the Paradise Double Ice Complex. Games are scheduled from Thursday, April 15th through Saturday, April 18th, and participating teams and the full game schedule is available through the Royal Newfoundland Regiment Mount Pearl High School official social media channels. And the Glacier area will be hosting the 2020. Oh, sorry, that's one item with regards to the Glacier. The second, the Glacier Arena will be hosting the 2026 Home Builder Show, which presented by Remax Realty, showcasing the latest in landscaping of home building trends, all under one roof with an extension listing of exhibitors. The show will open to the public on the following dates and times. So it will begin Saturday, April 24th from 9 a.m. to 6 p.m. and Sunday, April 25th from 9 a.m. to 4 p.m. Admission is about $10 per person and $1 discount for seniors 65 and up, and children under 12 will be admitted free of charge when accompanied by an adult. We're pleased to announce another important highlight and exciting highlight, which is the Youth Week 2026. That will take place May 1st to May 7th. And Youth Week is an opportunity to recognize, celebrate, and engage young people in our community through a variety of events and activities. As we've already mentioned with regards to Volunteer Appreciation Day, this is an extension of how we want to give thanks to our incredible youth. Residents are encouraged to stay tuned for the full schedule of events, and which will be announced soon on the city's official social media platforms. And follow us to stay informed and join us to celebrate our youth. Starting May 1st, and our final here is starting May 1st, which is Helping Mount Pearl Shine. Through our May and June, residents are invited for our community effort to clean up. Finally, we're at this stage. Hopefully the snow will be gone by the day there, most of the snow. But our parks and streets and trails getting ready for the spring, we need some tidying up, and cleanup kits, including bags and gloves, are available for pickup at City Hall and the Reed Community Center, and it's making it easy to get started. This initiative is about more than just a litter cleanup. It really is about nurturing a greener environment and building a healthier future for everyone who calls Mount Pearl home. So rally your family, friends, coworkers, and pitch in together. Doesn't take much time. It's just a few hours out of your day, and it's just some fun to socialize and also get out of our homes and enjoy some good weather. So planning to clean up with a larger group also. You can arrange supplies to coordinate with Allison Whitty. awhitty@mountpearl.ca is the email, and we can work together to keep Mount Pearl clean, green, and beautiful. So again, if there's organizations, and we know already of some who've already taken some interest in this, and if you and a large group of family or friends, or maybe it's your entire neighborhood, please let us know. And the final thing I have for everybody today, Your Worship, is Summer Day Camp registration will be available online only. Interested families are encouraged to register early, as spaces may be limited, and additional dates, including registration links and program information, will be available online. So Mount Pearl residents registration is Tuesday, May 12th from 5 p.m. and open registration is from Thursday, May 14th at 5 p.m. So again, most important to recognize, it is online, so keep connected with us, check online, and then there's two dates, of course, for our residents. It's Tuesday, May 12th, and open registration is Tuesday, May 14th. Thank you, Your Worship. That is everything for me. And I have to say, thank you to our incredible team, the recreation team. It's been quite a busy time and event, and a lot of good things going on in our city. Thank you.
No, thank you very much, and I gotta get you to go back and visit number 3.
Yes.
just
Decision
to be
note?
sure. I really appreciate you trying to make our meetings more efficient, but we need to approve those sports grants.
Oh, yes. Apologies. Let me just move back. Okay. Oh, okay. Yes, absolutely. So, number 3 on our e-scribe, just bear with me. We've got extension, commercial appliances, community sports grants, and here we are.
You just need a motion to approve the lump sum.
All right, I'm going to right now I'm getting just the information note rather than the decision making. So I'm just going to go ahead and make that motion. However,
In eScribe, I think
I'm
it's
looking
it's the active tab.
active
And
tab.
just the recommendation be fine, or the resolution, but not both, just one or the other. They're kind of
Okay.
the same.
Oh, I see it there. Yep. Okay.
Okay.
So what we'll do is the department recommends that council approve the release of funds as allocated by Mount Pearl Sports Alliance Grants Committee in the amount of 32,422 to be credited against the Glacier and Summit Rentals 2026 minor hockey. That will include minor hockey, figure skating, marlins, and artistic swim, and the remaining 47,578 to be distributed to each of the remaining 9 minor sporting groups. And I so move.
Yep, perfect. Thank you. Moved by Deputy Mayor Kiley, seconded by Councillor Fry. Thank you. Any questions, Council? Over to you, Councillor Rice.
No, I just want some clarification on this one. When the decision was made on the funding allotments for each sporting group in this one, was it based on numbers in that group, each group? I know we probably know the answer to it and has asked me many times before, but just I want to clarify how the numbers and the amount for Campy, for example, 11,000, yeah, how it was done. Yep, thanks.
Yeah, I think there's an independent group do it in consultation with the Sport Alliance. And there's a number of factors. It's quite the algorithm. Manager Jones, do you want to elaborate?
Yeah, it's just, it's fed into a mathematical formula that the city developed many years ago now. So once all the numbers are fed into the formula, the program then develops a master sheet and calculates the elements for each sport.
But it's primarily driven by the number of people
Yes.
or participants in that
Yes.
particular sport. Yeah.
Yeah.
Good, sir?
The reason I asked it, because I know the numbers do change and some organizations are after growing substantially, like Campy, for example, are after growing in like the last number of years, and some are after getting smaller. So that's why I asked the question. So thanks for clarification.
Question though, if I could, if everybody else is finished, is Pearl Gate Bowling included in that? I'd ask for liberty that be held.
I will look into it more. I do
Yeah.
believe they are.
It is, and I'd like
Yeah.
that to come back to the council table because there is no bowling in Mount Pearl anymore.
Mhm.
Fair enough? Yeah, yeah, Councillor Locke.
Thank you, Mayor. Councillor Rice and I actually were chatting about this over lunch today at the seniors. And Manager Jones just mentioned that, we've got this algorithm or formula we've been using for years. And I would suggest that maybe request that we revisit it to see. Because, and I think, Mayor, you alluded to this at a previous meeting, there are some other groups that are involved in sporting activities. Like I think of the Sharks cheer group up there, just as one. And, they go internationally, they win all these awards and stuff like that. So I'm requesting that we revisit it to see, does the net need to be spread wider? Are there groups out there that could avail of this that aren't? They're not currently part of the Mount Pearl Sport Alliance. So I'll just throw it out there as a request if we can have a look at that and revisit the formula further to what Councillor Rice was saying. Thank you, Mayor.
But not retroactively,
No.
going forward.
Yes,
So that
going
that would realistically have a year would elapse,
Right.
a good year, but we could invest our time wisely, right?
Yes,
Yes, thank you.
Thank you, Mayor.
Councillor Fry.
Yeah, I just wanted to caution, I mean, our sports grants are meant for public entities, right? We're not going to provide grants to privately owned enterprises. Is that correct?
I think that would have to be, I think that is some of the culture and history here. But, yeah, if it's changed, let's throw that into the review. I don't think there's a change being requested right now. I think that was an example, but you may raise a good point.
And I also just want to remind everybody too that although we no longer have a bowling alley here in Mount Pearl, we used to. And when it's sold and we lost our bowling alley, our local bowlers went to Paradise Bowl. So even though we don't have a bowling alley here, we still have Mount Pearl bowlers that avail of that facility basically because we don't have one here. So just want to throw that out.
Yes, I agree, but we only subsidize facilities and programs here in the city. But I'm okay to, if you want to pay out money that goes to a facility in the town of Paradise, I don't mind throwing it from my personal perspective into the review that's going to be done. Yeah, I'm fair with that. Yeah, okay, Counselor, Counselor Antle, sorry.
You'll get it out there. Okay? Just a quick question. When we're doing that review, and maybe that we should be looked at this, have we ever looked at it as Mount Pearl residents only? Because we're talking about Pearl Gate Bowling, and I understand what you're saying is, is this Mount Pearl residents and Paradise residents? Do we only subsidize Mount Pearl residents into that mix? Can we take a look at that? I know it's a little in depth and you're not going to do it right now, but when we review that, we should take a look at that and factor it in. So, all right. So, as we're going to subsidize our Mount Pearl residents, and we can certainly do it that way. Thank you.
So I think we have the makings of a motion that's about to pass, but I also think there's some direction for a review, and I think the factors have all been put on the table, and maybe there's more to come. So if it's safe to move on, if there's nobody else has a hand up, no? I'm going to call the original motion and keep it at that. All in favor? Aren't you
Aye.
minded? All right, our grants are approved. Thank you. Counselor Lane is unable to join us today. We have a community safety report. Counselor Fry.
Thank you, Your Worship. I'm very pleased to bring this in this evening. This is essentially some community safety highlights. So for the information and attention and consideration of council and the public, I just wanted to talk about a few things that we have some highlights to support our residents and awareness. Last month, the City of Mount Pearl proudly hosted its first disability information session, and the response from the community was overwhelmingly positive. The milestone event brought residents together at the Glacier to learn, connect, and empower themselves with knowledge that can truly make a difference in their lives and the lives of those they care for. So this session was led by Fraser Pickett, and he's a dedicated disability advocate who generously shared his time and expertise. Participants received clear, practical information on essential programs such as the disability tax credit, the registered disability savings plan, the Canadian disability benefit, and the Newfoundland and Labrador disability benefit. These are all really important topics for those who may avail of it. And beyond learning about these benefits, attendees were also introduced to a valuable local and provincial resources, organizations, and individuals who can help with navigating applications, understanding eligibility, and accessing ongoing supports. Because disabilities are often overlooked or misunderstood or difficult to talk about. But this session demonstrated just how powerful open conversations and shared knowledge can be. Many participants left feeling more confident, informed, and supported, equipped with new tools to help themselves or their loved ones live fuller, more accessible lives. The sense of relief and gratitude in the room underscored just how important accessible information truly is. So this first disability information session marks the beginning of an ongoing commitment by the City of Mount Pearl to foster inclusion, break down barriers, and ensure residents have access to the resources they need. And we're very proud of this positive impact that this has already made. We look forward to continuing to offer opportunities that support equity, dignity, and accessibility for all members of our community, both with all kinds of disabilities, including invisible disabilities. So next, I want to talk about our RISE program, because this continues to support community safety and connection and well-being through a wide range of partnerships and activities. The partnership with Elevate Her will conclude at the end of April, and options are currently being explored to continue some of the programming beyond the state because we've had so much success with it. In collaboration with First Light, work is underway to develop a violence prevention workshop. Our Modesty Swims will also continue as a regular component of our RISE programs. And just to give you an example, between March 30th and April the 6th, the following workshops were delivered. We had a safety planning workshop, which had 28 participants. That was a virtual one. We had a skills swap with 15 participants. We had microfinance with 52 participants, and a grief cafe at Rocket Bakery, and that had 7 participants. So weekly registration continues to grow, with several workshops now offered both in person and virtual format. The weather impacts contributed to the decision to expand virtual options and helping to ensure accessibility and continuity. And this past weekend, a 2S LGBTQIA+ Fun Casino Social was held. That was Saturday night at Park Place Community Center, and it was hosted by Elevate Her in partnership with our Community Safety and Wellbeing Committee, board member Bobby Stanford, and Danielle Gravet, who is one of our municipal enforcement officers. And participation from Mount Pearl residents has increased significantly, with the majority of all our registrants in recent sessions coming out from the local community. Many participants have also expressed interest in writing letters of support to help sustain the skills swap, the microfinance, and the safety plan and workshops, all of which are seeing growing community support. I can tell you, I attended the casino night, and it was so well done. And there were so many comments, people saying how they haven't had this much fun in many years. And just to be able to create a safe space is a very important safety aspect, and something that, that we're proud of here in Mount Pearl. And we have our Upstream program. And Mount Pearl is pleased to be participating as a pilot project with Project Upstream. I know we've talked about this before, but it's a national initiative focused on prevention, community resilience, and safety. This is really important. As part of this work, the city will receive the full cruise and readiness report by mid to late April. And some of the preliminary results have already been shared. And these findings show that Mount Pearl scored very high in community resilience and cohesiveness. And I guess that's that speaks to our community spirit that we've had here for many years. And highlighting the city's strong capacity for multi-sector collaboration to address hate, polarization, and violence. So we scored high in that, which is really good to hear. Based on these results, Mount Pearl will be paired with 2 aligned partner organizations. And these partnerships will help ensure that actions within Community Safety and Wellbeing Plan are guided by leaders in prevention and intervention and grounded in evidence-based programming. So the key words there are prevention and intervention. Mount Pearl has also been awarded funding through Project Upstream from Public Safety Canada to support expanded collaboration among educators, police, Newfoundland and Labrador Health, and city staff. So this funding will increase the reach of the violence threat risk assessment training that we delivered in March. The goal of this training is to build local capacity to recognize early indicators of risk and intervene appropriately before escalation to violence, with a particular focus on youth violence prevention. The Center for Trauma-Informed Practices will once again partner with the city to deliver this training, and together these efforts will strengthen Mount Pearl's proactive collaborative approach to community safety and well-being. There's a lot of work and a lot of planning going into this. Just a couple of additional initiatives. We have several additional initiatives aligned with the Community Safety and Wellbeing Framework that are underway in support of youth engagement, collaboration, and community trust. Collaborations with Mount Pearl schools took place to support Multicultural Day celebrations and Grade 9 farewell events. And this aligns with the community safety and well-being priorities around youth engagement and building trust and collaboration within the community. Constable Danielle Gravet attended several meetings with accredited outreach organizations, including Thrive and Homelessness and the YMCA, to establish collaborative relationships. This work supported progress under the mental health and social supports priority area. We have different priority areas, and there's work going on in each of them. And finally, just to talk about something else which is really fun, we have an Acts of Kindness project. So the Citizens Crime Prevention Committee, in partnership with the city, Advanced planning for an Acts of Kindness project. So this initiative involves distributing coupons to local businesses, to youth-serving organizations, the Mount Pearl Citizens Crime Prevention Committee, schools, police, and enforcement officers. And these coupons are intended to be shared with youth when they are observed performing a good deed or demonstrating an act of kindness within the community. So instead of focusing on the negative, encourage and support the positive. The project aims to promote positive youth engagement and development, encourage safe and inclusive public spaces, and foster positive relationships between youth and law enforcement. So as you can see, this is a very busy committee, and they're doing wonderful work and lots of partnering with others in the community, and that's the key. We can't solve it on our own. We need partners and community partners from all aspects. And that's it for the community safety report, Your Worship. Thank you.
Busy part of the new culture here at the City of Mount Pearl. No, well delivered, and thanks to everybody who's either organizing events or participating as a committee member or working their butts off, just like the Crime Prevention Committee here in the City of Mount Pearl. Yeah, well said. Okay, so we're going to move over now to engineering. I'm going to turn to Councillor Rice.
Thank you, Worship. Our first one is our engineering change order number 2 for Wyatt Boulevard. Additional contract administration fees. So on this one, CBCL has requested change order number 2 for Wyatt Boulevard project to account for additional contract administration resulting from an expansion to the project scope. To accommodate the new sewage lift station and the tie-ins to adjacent projects, additional work was required on Mount Carson Avenue and Wyatt Boulevard, which resulted in more coordination, site visits, meetings, reviews, and oversight by the consultant. So the committee recommends approval of change order number 2, additional contract administration fees in the amount of $39,801.50, HST included, to CBCL Limited for the Wyatt Boulevard project, and I so move.
Moved by Councillor Rice, second by Councillor Antle. Thank you both. Any questions, Council? Hearing none. Okay, I'll call that question. All in favor? Opposed? Thank you. Carried.
Thank you. Our next one is our contract recommendation for our street markings 2026 and 2027 with an optional year for 2028. So the tender for the street marking contract closed on March the 11th, 2026, and 2 bids were received. The lowest bid qualified bidder is Modern Paving Limited with a bid amount of $1,402,200.75, HST included, which includes an optional 3rd year. The bid broken down per year is as follows. Year 1, 2026, which is this year, $447,683.50, HST included. A year 2 is for 2027 is $462,475.95, HST included. And year 3, which is 2028, is the optional year pending agreement of both parties for $492,041.30, HST included. So the planning, engineering, and development staff recommended that the contract for street markings for 2026 to 2027 with an optional year 2028 be awarded to Modern Paving Limited for the amount of $1,402,200.75, HST included, and I so move.
Thank you. Moved by Councillor Rice, second by Councillor Antle. Let's get this approved. And when are they going to start? Councillor Locke.
Thank you, Mayor. I'm just wondering, like, when we're going to start. I'm kidding. Just curious. I know in past years, and I don't know if maybe Councillor Rice mentioned it, but does this contract include 2 coatings? Because usually we do lines, you know, in the spring, summer, and then we do a little touch up in the fall of the year. So is that the same for this particular contract?
Ms. Manager Barry, please.
It does include two coatings, one in May. Usually they don't start until around the May long weekend or just afterwards. This year we've got it in so that they start in mid-May, so start a few weeks earlier, pending good weather. So that'll be the first application, and any areas that aren't done in May or need a second touch-up will be done in September. Early September is usually around Labor Day or just thereafter.
Answer both questions in one shot. Any other questions? All right, Councilor Rice, we're going to make the motion. The motion's made. I'm going to call the motion. All in favor? Opposed? Carried.
Thank you. Our next one is our contract recommendation for 2026 asphalt crack sealing, which is our contract number tender TP-26-00. So the tender for the street markings contract closed on March the 12th, 2026, and 2 bids were received. New Lab Construction Incorporated submitted the lowest bid in the amount of $69,575, HST included. So Planning, Engineering and Development staff recommended that council award the 2026 asphalt crack sealing contract to New Lab Construction Incorporated in the amount of $69,575 and HST included. I so move.
Thank you both. Moved by Councilor Rice, second by Councilor Antle. Question over to you, Councilor Locke.
Thank you, Mayor. I'm just curious if our manager can answer this in terms of what's the extent of this? How many feet, meters, kilometers? And how does it compare to the amount required to fully seal all cracks in the city?
I'll have to get back to you on how it compares to what needs to be done. As you know, a lot of our city streets are aging and they're quite old. I can get you the answer though. I don't know the volume like per meter, but I know it's about a half a dozen streets. But I can get you the amount if you want it.
I'm going to call the question, seeing no other hands up. Okay, all in favor? Contrary-minded? Thank you. Carried.
Thank you. Our next one is our, this one is located for, it talks about a transfer of funds for our 2023 to our 2026 multi-year capital works funding program. So the city is requesting reallocations of unused funds in the amount of $2,812,506.90, which is a provincial share, from the 2023 to 2026 multi-year capital works allocation for Holden Street upgrading, which was tender number 17-YMCW-24-00047. These funds are proposed to be redirected to the 2023 to 2026 multi-year capital works project, which is 17-MYCW-24-00048, which is the new community centre. So be it resolved that we, the ultimate recipient, the City of Mount Pearl, approve the relocation of cost-sharing funds as outlined in the Department of Transportation and Infrastructure Project Approval Letter dated the 18th day of December 2023 in the amount of $2,812,506.90. That's provincial share from project number 17-MYCW-24-00047. Project name Holden Street upgrades to project number 17-MYCW-24-00048, project name the new community centre. This council agrees to provide the ultimate recipient a share value of $4,353,054 in funding for this project and authorizes the mayor and the CEO to enter into a revised funding agreement with the Department of Transportation and Infrastructure on behalf of the City of Mount Pearl. And further to that, project number 17-MYCW-24-00047, project name Holden Street upgrading be formally closed. And I so move.
Thank you, Councillor Rice, and second by Councillor Antle. A little bit of housekeeping going on here. It doesn't mean Holden Street's not getting done. I believe that work is ready to go and roll out later this year. This is just really a reconfiguration of the financing associated with multi-year capital works as well as the community center. Fair? Any questions? All right. I'll call a motion. All in favor? Those opposed? Thank you. Carried.
Thank you, Worship. Our next one is our update for our capital work projects. So this one here, we got a few on this one, and they're ongoing. For the information, attention of council, consideration of council and the public. Farrell Drive pump house upgrades, construction ongoing is 30% complete. 2025 concrete works, construction is 90% complete. Work to resume in the spring of 2026. White Boulevard upgrades, construction is 60% complete. Work to resume the weeks of April the 20th, 2026, weather permitting. Under a sewage lift station, our Mount Carson Avenue, construction is ongoing. That one is about 90% complete. Our Jackman Drive upgrades, construction to begin the week of April the 20th, 2026, weather permitting. Our Water Tower Access Road, construction to resume the week of April the 20th, 2026, weather permitting. And our water storage tank design build construction starts March the 9th, 2026, 5% complete. Our Glencoe culvert replacement construction is 95% complete. Final tidy up, it will be in the spring of 2026 when we get the weather permitting on that one as well. Our T-rail crossing, 50% complete, construction to resume in the spring of 2026. Our asphalt crack sealing and tender, and it was the award just awarded a few minutes ago. And our 2026-2028 street markings tender award was just done a few minutes ago as well. So we got a busy time coming up this spring, summer, fall, and that is for our report for that one.
Thank you very much, sir. And now we're going to go to item 11, Planning and Development. Councillor Locke. Oh my God, I apologize.
Yeah, no, it's okay. I got
Back to you. I thought you were
I got
done.
some building permits. These are, I've done that section, yeah. No, this one's all good. These are already pre-approved, just for information of council and public. So we have 24 items there in our building permit listing, which is from March the 1st to March the 31st, 2026. I'm not going to read them all out. They're there in your kit for you to read, just for information only. They're already passed and already gone through. And under our occupancy permit listing from March the 1st to March the 31st, we have 6 items there in our kit also on that one for your reading pleasure. And they are for information purpose only. And that is the end of our report. Thank you, Your Worship.
I was just a bit ahead of my time, I think. Thanks. And over to you, Councillor Locke, for the Planning and Development report.
Thank you, Mayor. We have 2 items here. The first is a decision being asked of Council regarding whether or not to amend the terms of reference for the Commissioner of Public Hearings to adjust the approved hourly rate. As we know, the City of Mount Pearl is required, as per the Urban and Rural Planning Act of 2000, to appoint an independent commissioner to conduct a public hearing as a part of the statutory process, and of course for any amendments to our municipal plan. And we know that in the last month or so, we had 2 commissioner hearings in the city here for 2 different developments. So we're familiar with that, and the commissioner conducts the public hearing, as we know, and they prepare a report and a final recommendation to council. The proposed increase, the ask is from $100 to $160 per hour. And of course, this aligns with the city's approved hourly rate for the commissioners of assessment review. This also aligns with our strategic directions in that it would ensure consistency in rates for commissioners across the City of Mount Pearl. And as I mentioned earlier, from a legal perspective, it is in keeping with Section 19 of the Urban and Rural Planning Act of 2000. As such, the Planning Engineering Development staff are recommending that Council approve an amendment to the terms of reference for commissioners of public hearings to increase the hourly rate from current $100 per hour to $160 per hour, and I so move.
It is moved by Councillor Locke and seconded by, thank you, Deputy Mayor Kiley. Any questions? Bit of housekeeping here.
Yeah.
It goes to show that maybe you should increase your rates on a year-by-year basis, and therefore you avoid, but the amount I think is current. I think it's fair, and we will be using commissioners until we at least get the municipal plan back from the province, which is overdue. Okay, I'll call the question. All in favor? Opposed? You good, Deputy Mayor? Yeah, okay. Opposed, and that motion's carried. Thank you.
Thank you, Mayor. The second item for the Planning and Development section is for information purposes, and it's the development permit listing from the 1st of March to the end of March of 2026. And as you can see in our kit there are 7 outlined, and we're certainly here to entertain any questions that might come up. None? Okay, that's it for us, Mayor. I thank you.
Thank you very much. All quiet on this front. We'll do a quick round table. I'm going to start tonight, and that would be with Councillor Fry.
You said quick? I want to talk about potholes because it's the time of year. And it's this time of year when snow starts to thaw and we get more rain and the water penetrates through the cracks of the asphalt. But then, of course, in typical Newfoundland weather, the sun goes down and the temperatures freeze and everything freezes, and then the next day it thaws and then it freezes again. And this is what causes our potholes. So when temperatures go back to freeze and the water begins to freeze and it expands, forcing the asphalt to be pushed apart and causing a pothole. So it's the time of year when residents are going to start seeing them pop up. And the important thing is that we ask residents to call and report any potholes that they may see. The number to call is 748-1000. That's to report potholes. And that will give our Public Works team an opportunity to address them in a timely manner. There are two ways of addressing this. The temporary pothole repair is made with what's called a cold patch and or recycled asphalt. So a cold patch is a bagged product designed for a quick fit during times when asphalt's not available. And recycled asphalt is used at times when we reheat and melt small pieces of asphalt and use that product to make temporary repairs. Because real asphalt is only available when the local asphalt plants are open, and that's usually from May to December. And then more permanent pothole repairs can be done. So if you see a pothole, please report it because they're inevitable at this time of year, and it's the weather that we choose to live here, and that's the weather that we get. And the other thing for me, I just wanted to talk about our upcoming bulk garbage. So our annual free 5-week bulk garbage collection pickup starts on May 19th. And it runs for 5 weeks after that, depending on where you live. Our proposed new paid bulk garbage collection dates and fees will be coming forward in upcoming meetings. But I just wanted to give residents a heads up because now is the time of year when you start thinking about spring cleaning and getting rid of things. So to give you some notice, it's going to start on the week of May 19th. And that's it for me, Your Worship. Thank you.
Thank you very much. Well said. No appointment needed. That's later in the year, but this is free and available for all of the neighborhoods and neighbors and residents of the city of Mount Pearl. Cool. All right. Over to you, Councillor Locke.
Thank you, Mayor. I have two that I wish to speak to. The first, yesterday, I attended a planning session for the Waterford River held by the Rotary Club of the Waterford Valley. I know Councillor Rice is a member of the Rotary there, and I was in attendance with Councillor Bill Antle and Councillor Rice, who I think is slated to be the incoming president of the Waterford Valley Rotary Club. We met for probably 3 hours, I guess, three hours or so. And there was a variety of participants there. From the Lions were there, community groups, Fisheries and Oceans were there, Friends and Lobbyists of the Waterford Valley were there, Rotarians were there, and some local fishers, trout fishers. And I learned some things about the Waterford River that people come in from around the bay, for example, to fish trout fish in the river. And one gentleman was there. He'd been doing it for years, and he's fished from the headwaters right down to the harbor front. And they indicated that at one time that was the heaviest or the highest concentration of trout of any river on the island of Newfoundland. And of course, with urban development and all the paving over of the lands, there's been increased flow into the river. So it was a great planning session. And as we know, I think there's 14 kilometers of the Waterford River. There's 100 kilometers of tributaries that feed the Waterford River. And if memory serves me correctly, Councillor Rice, you can correct me otherwise, I think Mount Pearl owns the largest section of the Waterford River. So there was representatives there from St. John's, from Mount Pearl, from Paradise. And the hope is that I know we've tried this in the past, but Councillor Rice now, with him at the helm, I think he's known as a doer. We want to get the three municipalities together, get some current policy, uniform policy across the three municipalities, because this is a gem, what we have running through the spine of our city. And I know we have a zero net runoff policy. I think Paradise was a little later to adopt it. So there's all these measures, but they talked about the salinity of the water quality and how it impacts all the insects and the fish species and stuff like this. And it's not a criticism. I think, Director Dallemont, that we use 8 tons of salt that we purchase annually thereabouts in the city of Mount Pearl? 8,000, what did I say? 8,000 tons. So I think I heard on the radio the other night that I think St. John's purchases 42,000 tons. And a lot of this comes back into the river. And over time, the brook trout that we call mud trout, they virtually disappeared from the Waterford River. Anyways, I could go on, but I won't. I just wanted to mention that we had good representation there from the City Council, and I'm looking forward to bringing back some things that we can proceed with. The other issue, Mayor, is one thing I've noticed now in my walks throughout the city and in the trailways and stuff like that, is the number of felled trees. You know, the wind episodes, we don't have to talk here. I lost 19 shingles off my roof in the last wind episode. But what I have noticed is the amount of felled trees, and some of these are quite large. And in walking through the city and driving through the city, there are some sections where there are huge trees overhanging our sidewalks and our carriageways. And I'm a little concerned that if some of these branches come down, they are going to do damage, either to a physical harm or physical damage to a vehicle or a person. So I'm just going to throw it out there. I would ask if perhaps we could do an assessment. I know I brought this up before, Director, and I know our operators can tell you where all these trees are hanging over because they impact, you know, our snow plows and our snow blowers. But in light of climate change, and we can all attest to this, the intensity of the windstorms we're getting, you know, changes in the air. And I would like to be proactive and address these massive branches before we have to deal with them falling. So that's my request, Mayor, if I could just throw that out there. And that's it for me. I thank you.
No, well said. Good stuff. Over to you now, Deputy Mayor Kiley, please.
Thank you, Your Worship. I just have one item. Over the past weekend, I had the pleasure of attending a spring market at the Arts Annex, and it was hosted in partnership with Admiralty House Museum and the Association for the Arts in Mount Pearl. And just wanted to highlight what stood out for me most was just the incredible amount of talent of our local artists and our writers and artisans, but also the thoughtfulness behind some of their work. One of the examples I wanted to just talk about, which was very simple. It was a beautifully crafted wooden thumb flower designed to help keep if you're reading a book, allowing you to keep the book open easily. It's great for somebody living with arthritis or carpal tunnel, or requiring any other sort of accommodation. And really, it was a powerful reminder that art can be a place for innovation, and it certainly can advance accessibility and inclusion. So just a sincere thank you to our volunteers at Admiralty House and AMP for creating the spaces where local creativity can thrive and where we can invest in the arts, and where we're also really investing in accessibility. And I like it when those two things can kind of combine. So, you know, and really when we are investing in arts and accessibility, we are investing in inclusion and also belonging and really the stories that hold our community together. So thank you very much to those organizations and individuals involved. And that's all for me, Your Worship.
Great stuff, especially in the spirit of Volunteer Week and whatnot coming up. Yeah, good. Thank you, Deputy Mayor. Over to you, Councillor Antle.
I'll be very, very quick, Your Worship. Some of mine are after being talked about, but I want to just reiterate. I was at the Rotary Club of Waterford Valley with Councillor Rice and Councillor Locke yesterday. And I did not know at the time that Councillor Rice was the incoming president of the Rotary Club. It was really, Mark didn't want, Councillor Rice didn't want anybody to know about this. I think he was he would want to keep it quiet, but it was brought up at the association that Mark's known as a doer. So it's great to see that he's the president of this association. I think he's going to do a great job. He represented us really, really well. At that meeting, he had a time to get up and speak. And while he spoke, I think it was one of the most thoughtful, one of the better presentations. Mark talked about things that were happening in the river. I think it was a job well done. Mark, congratulations. Also, as Councillor Rice or Councillor Locke said, I do walk the trails also quite a lot, right? And everything that you brought up, one of the things on the crosswalks yesterday, I was walking up Park Avenue yesterday, twice I almost got knocked down. I waited at the crosswalk on top of Forest Avenue to go across right there. And the crosswalks, there's a big sign there that says crosswalk. The crosswalks can't be seen, and we understand that. People, you got to pay attention. The signs are there. If people are on the crosswalk, if they're not there, slow down, give people a break. I went up again. I stopped right here in front of Centennial Square, the crosswalk right there again. Same thing. I was there for, a couple of minutes before anybody, no one would stop. And I had my stick that I walk with. I was pointing at the sign because my people must have thought this foolish old man, right? But you got to pay attention. It's really dangerous. And then I walked the trail on the way home, and dog feces. We supply the bags for free. They're all over the place. Pick up the trail down there is like a war zone. There's that much stuff on the trails. We got to pick up after our dogs. Thank you very much, and that's my little rant. And congratulations, President Rice.
Thank you. Over to you, President Councillor Rice.
I didn't need the recognition, Bill. I'm not trying to add anything to my resume now at this stage of my life. I'm just trying to do good, that's all. But anyway, thanks for the accolades from Molly. Appreciate it very much. No, I just want to add on to that. We had the Conservation Corp was there as well, Emily Cummings and Gabby Reisenfeld. She's an Aquatics Conservation Initiative. A lot of these initiatives comes from the federal government, and we're going to get an announcement very soon on a substantial amount of funding coming to the Conservation Corp. And I had a quick little conversation with Director Dalman on this, because I know that Director Dalman and also Karen Miller and who else in playing there? Was that? No, they're going to be notified of what the funding is going to be coming up. So and most of the they're looking at most of the tree planting and some of the waterways area. Most of their funding for 2026 is going to be in Mount Pearl. So I can't say nothing about it, but they're going to be contacting our staff about it. It's not my area to say, so it's there. Yeah, but anyway, I just wanted to actually, just take a second to do a big shout out to Bill Stoyles and Bern Stoyles, who've been keepers of the Waterford River for a lot of years. And that's who got me interested, myself and Tom Davis. I got involved in this because of Bern and Bill. And most of the stuff that was put together for yesterday's conference was done by Bill, all the invitees. And some of the people that were there, I mean, they had phenomenal amount of knowledge about the river. Like I was really, when I started getting some of the information they're giving out, it was just phenomenal information. And really a bad job we're doing with the environment on the Waterford River. It was a gem, and it still can be a gem, but we just need some work on which way we're going to it. So, and another big thing part was too, it's nice to have DFO there speak on the regulations and the enforcement of the regulations. And they gave a couple of booklets out at the end. If you don't know if you want any questions answered, contact them, and they will answer the questions for you, or they will come and help enforce the bylaws in the city. That stuff that we can't really, it's out of our control because it's provincial and federal jurisdiction. It was fantastic, and I just want to say kudos to everybody who was there, and I appreciate the City Council, Councillor Locke and Councillor Rantle showing up. Great support. It's what it's all about, helping each other out. And I just want to add, and I see on the, I'm really glad this came up tonight under our Recreation Department about starting May the 1st, Mount Pearl, to help make Mount Pearl shine. So I'd like to incorporate this into part of the connection with the Rotary, because Bill and Bern and Tom and myself now, we'd love to help out, invite to join the community effort. I'd like to see the whole community of Mount Pearl and the whole city, each neighborhood, do more in their neighborhoods, because I go over now and I drive around like all of us. I'll take one example. Over behind the industrial area by Walmart, that area over there now, what a mess over there again this year. There's litter everywhere, and there's coffee cups. We got no control over the drive-thrus, like we mentioned yesterday, but we have got control over the neighborhoods getting clean up. I'd like to see something where we have a competition like the recycling thing we did, where we can have a pizza party for the neighborhood, but we can supply the bags and gloves and we can show up and give them a hand. You know, the Rotary members are, 25 to 30 members in roughly. But we got the whole Rotary group of the whole Avalon Peninsula that will jump in. We already had the mini conference back in the first week of March, and it was phenomenal. And they're willing to jump in and help out, right? But I just want to give out these dates here. So April the 22nd is Earth Day, and that's, you can go and Google that and you can see the information on Earth Day. But these are the dates that they came up with. May the 8th, the 9th. May the 8th and May the 9th is Cleanup Action Day in all this area. We're going to skip May 24th weekend, and then May the 22nd and May the 23rd is Cleanup Action Days. June the 5th and June the 6th is Action Cleanup Day as well. That's a big one. And June the 14th is Canadian Rivers Day. We're planning an event and recognition of our supporters and the impact that everybody have had. And also we want to try to get groups involved. So we're trying to promote those dates. So if we can get them on our website, I'd certainly appreciate it. And the second, so that's it for the Rotary part. And the other one I wanted to mention is I had a message from Mr. Jim Bulger. And he's a coach, and we're speaking about the bowling. So he's a coach and advisor, and he wanted me to mention this tonight about some of the Mount Pearl athletes are heading to the Nationals in Winnipeg on May the 1st. And under all the categories, and he's not attending, but these are the groups that are attending. Under the Bantam Boys Single Provincial Champ, Brady Maguire. And the junior girls single champ is Sharla Maguire. The coach is Chris Fowler. They're attending. The senior boys team is Cody Jacobs and Luke Walsh. And the coach is Brandon Pope. Bantam boys team is Max O'Keefe and Chase Warford. And their coach is Denise Sterling. And the program director is Gail Cave. And all of them are attending. So I told him I would mention that tonight, and some of these people are Mount Pearl residents. I'm not sure the numbers, but anyway, I just want to give a big shout out and wish them good luck and congratulations. Thank you, Worship. That's it for me.
Hey, guys.
Long
Okay.
with tonight. Thanks.
We are done. We had a great meeting. We spent a lot of money. We welcomed some groups and celebrated, I guess, spring has sprung. So on that note, I'd like to close the meeting with your permission and a motion, please. Deputy Mayor Kiley, second by Councillor Fry. We are adjourned.